I'm calling the Committee on Finance and Human Resources to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present, and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Action. First agenda item is consideration of substitute compensation increase. Ms. Ashley Smith, you are recognized.
Good evening, Chairman Ramsey, members of the committee, members of the board, Dr. Ingram. In November of 2017, Charleston County School District announced pay increases to all substitute teachers and substitute teacher assistants. This slide represents these positions and the difference in pay rates between Berkeley County School District and Charleston County School District. This presentation will not reflect an increase in certified long-term teacher increases over the $150 per day. If we have a position in our budget that is not allocated to a teacher or a teacher assistant, the sub will receive the daily rate of pay for that position. From that aspect, we are in line with Charleston County School District. This chart shows our current rate of pay for substitute teachers, teachers assistants, long-term teachers, child nutrition, and custodians. The fields highlighted in yellow are our current rate of pay and our proposed change in pay. To stay competitive with Charleston County School District, we are proposing to raise the substitute compensation for teachers from $60 per day to $80 per day for a non-certified teacher and $80 per day to $112 per day for a certified teacher. Teacher assistants compensation would increase on an average of $2 per hour, depending on whether the substitute is certified or non-certified. In addition to these positions, we are proposing to increase child nutrition substitutes and custodians from $9.10 per hour to $9.50 per hour. We have worked with Kelly Services to decrease our rate of markup from 1.36% to 1.34 to 1.35%, depending on the positions, will result in a savings for the district. Looking at historical data, during the 15-16 school year, for the positions listed, we spent approximately $3.4 million, and in 16-17, we spent $4.2 million. If we continue with our current rates through the end of the 17-18 year, we will spend approximately $4.3 million. In the next slide, you will see the projected cost of increasing the sub pay for the remainder of the year. If the board approves the increase for the subs, the total approximate additional funds required would be $413,490. The $413,000 would come from the general fund balance. Future costs associated with the compensation increase would be in the budget for next year. This is a slide that shows the total projected costs through the end of the year that I mentioned previously. However, the net effect to the general fund for the increase would be the $413,000. Looking forward to 18-19 projections, the increase with the new rate of pay would be an increase of approximately $987,000, or a 20% increase. This will be incorporated in the general fund budget for the 18-19 school year. Keep in mind that these are projected numbers and they could fluctuate up and down depending on the fill rate for each of these positions. Administration would like to recommend a motion that the Finance Committee accepts the recommendation and approve the sub-pay for these positions reflected in this presentation. I've worked with Becky Jennings. She's also here. She's with Kelly Services. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them, or Becky can help with answer any of these questions.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. On our committee, what we have is I'm the chairman. We have Ms. Wofford's on the committee and Reverend Span's on this committee. First of all, I'd like to really say thank you to the staff in the district that came up with this plan. I've actually had several substitute teachers, and also there's been talk about the custodians and some of the staff, what we could do for them. And several people reached out to me and say, hey, Charleston raised their pay. Is Berkeley County going to raise their pay? And I immediately said, I don't know. I hope so. And then this came about, and so I just really commend the district for recognizing the need, and I fully support what we're looking to do here. And now I will open it up.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the increase in substitute compensation, including teachers, teacher assistants, child nutrition, and custodians as presented by Ms. Smith and the administration.
Not ready. Early on in the year, Mr. Chair, we talk about improving bus administrators and bus drivers on this list as well, and I notice it's not on this list. So, well, you know, in the process of to increase and help out and give raise, increase to custodians and substitute teachers, teacher assistants, child nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. Why are we not looking at the bus drivers and bus administration as well?
In this particular instance, if I may answer that question, is that okay?
Go for it.
This is produced by Kelly Services. These are the employees that we get from Kelly Services, and we don't get bus drivers or substitutes from Kelly Services. They don't handle that. So this is just part of this presentation, but that could be something that's looked at in the future. But this is for the subs that are currently employed through Kelly Services with us.
Very good. Now, how will it be looked at in the future?
And we can look at the same process, but it would be for our employees that are currently employed through the district, through Berkeley County School District, and not through Kelly Services.
Because, Mr. Chair, I'm concerned that we talked around this for the last how many months now, and it seemed like we are not making any headway about what we discussed earlier. And
it was my understanding that we made some headway in this past year's budget as far as where we did allocate some more buses, but as far as the pay, it's still I haven't heard anything come up as far as what we were going to do with that.
As I recall, in preparing this year's budget last spring, this came up, and Reverend Span's correct. I think it was indicated that the bus drivers and supervisors received a substantial increase the year before, and that accounted for some of the inequity. But I think we probably need to take a hard look at it on this coming budget cycle for this coming school year, Reverend Span.
it was also mentioned that there was a block or segment of funds that was available that may be added or used for the bus driver and bus administrator. In one of our discussions, I can't remember exactly when, but there was supposed to be some funds that may be available. No one remember?
I remember when we were going through the budget process, us talking about it, but I don't remember that it.
But I just don't want to look over it. Since this is part of Kelly Services, I understand what you're saying. We can't, work that into this deal, but we really need to consider it later on.
I think we talked about the money that was allocated to the board in the budget and if that could be reallocated, I remember correctly. Right. And it was not, the money that was showing under the board on that report was it was either benefits or insurance premiums or something. It was not money we could spend differently than how it was spent on the budget. I understand
it wasn't the Kelly Services. I know that.
No. The money, the block of money that we discussed that was in the budget, and we thought it was board spending. We thought it was conference money that we could reallocate. Right. When we investigated what those funds were, we couldn't reallocate it. It was insurance and school board association. It wasn't money we could take to spend on something else like we originally thought.
Okay.
I never
was made aware.
I think there was a surplus in the 6% fund that was a residual balance, and we decided that we could look into how we're going to utilize that. I don't think that's been authorized at this point. That's a possibility of looking into further.
My concern is just how far are we looking before we look into it.
Well, Mr. Span, we're getting ready to begin the budgeting process for the following year, and that's certainly something that Ms. Smith and I have addressed in other districts, and we understand, I think, fully the need to compensate our bus drivers and our custodians appropriately, so that we can not only recruit but retain dedicated people. So I wasn't here for those discussions that you referenced, I think, last spring, obviously, but it is something we would certainly incorporate in the budgeting process this spring for next year.
I'm just concerned
we got to pay for it
because those people are important, just like the rest of our staff.
I couldn't agree more.
Drive buses and so forth.
I couldn't agree more.
We have
all
a
day
hard
long.
time finding enough of them to work.
Correct.
Exactly.
And we couldn't agree more. Our schools look good, and our folks need to be compensated appropriately.
So, if I'm in order, I'll call for the previous motion.
Okay. Motion to approve the increase in substitute compensation, including teachers, teachers' assistants, child nutrition, and custodians as presented by administration.
Second.
No, we got motions. I made the motion. Mr. Ramsey seconded. All you got to do is call. You can call the question.
Okay. I made the motion.
No, you got to call the question.
Oh, I got to call.
You in charge.
All right. Well,
All in
you
favor.
made the motion.
I did.
She already did.
I did at the beginning.
Okay.
I made the motion. You seconded me. We started the discussion.
All right.
So
all
we
in
need-
favor?
Aye.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
So you have to understand, it's kind of hard for us to step back and check people.
At this
You've
point,
been
that's all we
chairperson.
have. Any opposed?
There you go.
The ayes have it. Okay.
Mr.
At this
Chair, I
point-
make a motion to adjourn.
I second. I make the motion to adjourn.
You seconded it.
You seconded it. So all you
Call
got to
for
do
the
is call the question.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.